أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله أوله بلا أول كان قبله وآخره بلا آخر يكون بعده الذي قصرت عن رؤيته أبصار الناظرين وعجزت عن نعته أوهام الواصفين ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا حبيبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد اللهم صل وعليه الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين ولعنة الدائم على أعدائهم وغاصب حقوقهم ومنكر فضائلهم ومناقبهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. We extend our condolences to the Imam of our time for the days and for the beginning of the month of Muharram, as it is indeed an honor to commemorate, as our brother just mentioned. Prior to that, is quite humble in terms of inviting me here and also giving me the honor to serve. And he rightly mentioned that the Majalis of Imam Husayn is not the question of crowd or big or small. Every Majlis of Imam Husayn is the biggest of Majlis because of the presence of Siddiqa Kubra Fatimah Zahra Salamullah Alayha. And usually the smaller gatherings are or tend to have more of sincerity and purity. That's what is needed in the Majalis of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. Is khulus, is ikhlas, is that sincerity and purity is required. Because the methodology, because the way Imam Husayn alayhi salam gave his life was full of khulus, was full of ikhlas. In a very remote, far from people, an event took place, and as that event was so pure that it is commemorated every year and it increases every year by year. And this is because of the khulus of our Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. Both sides have to be khulus. That side is ikhlas, that is purity, Surah Tawheed. That khulus must match the khulus of humanity. So then both sides is ikhlas, then that becomes a magic. So that side is khulus or ikhlas, which is the purity of Tawheed. This side is the purity of the action of Tawheed, which is by Imam Husayn alayhi salam. So gatherings with khulus, with sincerity and purity, are gathering for taking lesson, are benefiting, and it will benefit us, inshallah. If you help me with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. As a speaker, when he comes, he first kind of points out to emergency exits. What are the rules of the gathering? In Muharram, the rules or the way that one should carry is that try to be in a state of huzn and sorrow. Change our behavior the same way as we change in the month of Ramadan. So in the month of Muharram as well, when it begins, we have to change our lifestyle. If you look at in Christianity, they have Lent before Easter, 10 days. In the 10 days, they tend to fast, or they tend to give a thing which they really like. Because of what? Because of Isa. Because in the love of Isa alayhi salam, they tend to give away comfort of the life, Some people, for example, how they do it, how they perform. If they like chocolate, they say, I'm not going to eat chocolate for 10 days or 11 days. So this is a very devotional way of expressing their love and gratitude to Isa alayhi salam. Every religion have commonality, have similarities, because they all come from the same root, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Cultures have commonality and similarities. The way we perform our alam, our marsiya, our poetry, we have seen the same thing in Persian culture, in other cultures as well. So therefore, our grandparents, our parents have taught us few things which may not be in the sense of halal or haram or this or that, but there are certain very valuable things that they have taught us. For example, when Muharram starts, we all wear black. I mean, there's no halal and haram in this, but this is a way of showing our gratitude and our love to Imam Husayn alayhi salam. So we change our attire. Not only that, our grandparents have taught us that during these 10 days, we should try to avoid any of the pleasurable things, even to the extent of eating food. They will not eat meat for 2 months and 8 days, month of Muharram and Safar, and even 8 days or till Safar. Or at least they will not have meat for first 10 days. Malik Jawad Agha Tabrizi, a great scholar, he has a book called Muraqabat, which is like a Mafati book, which are the Amal, but it's much more geared towards Irfan and mysticism. And they have Amal that he writes, which is recommended, so on and so forth. In the month of Muharram, he discusses this, that the ulama, that the scholars, they would try to get rid of the lazais, try to get rid of lazzatai dunyavi, which they like, they will not perform, they will not do. And they will live in a way as if they have lost their father or their children. How a person, when, for example, may Allah protect all your parents, if I lose my father, how I behave, how I will be, in what state I will be. They say that we should be in that state. If I lose my child, in what state I will be? Devastated, sad. Usually we don't feel like eating. That's why you have guest people, they bring food, they try to give you food when you have, for example, Mauta, when somebody died in your house. So Muharram, when it comes, especially first 10 days, we should be on guard. We should be in a state of trying to avoid lazais. People would sleep on the floor without taking a pillow. Every day they sleep on the bed, but when Muharram comes, they say, no, we're going to sleep on the floor. I'm pretty sure all of your, grandfather and your parents' houses, they would have farsh. They would spread the white sheet as we have done it at home. They will have ashur khana, they will have alam, and they will go for majalis, and at night they will just sleep on the floor. Every day, they are comfortable in their bed, but because of Muharram, things change. So we have to transfer this to our children. We have to teach them that there is something different about Muharram and Safar. Participation in the Azadari of Imam Husayn alayhi salam is very important. These days, sometimes people tend to get feedback from their community, what majlis to recite, what to focus. The theme of the majlis should be how to tarbiyat the children, or how to, have good married life, how this or how that. The theme for 10 days of Muharram is Imam Husayn.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Thank you. So if somebody is coming to the majalis of Imam Husayn alayhi salam with khulus, with sincerity, Imam Husayn will give what you need and what you are missing out. I'm missing out, for example, in I don't know how to properly do tarbiyat of my children, for example. If I go sincerely and ask Imam Husayn alayhi salam in the majalis of Imam Husayn, instinctively, naturally, Imam Husayn alayhi salam will teach me that. Because there is so much in the story of Karbala. There is so much that we can learn if we just mention those stories. And these are the stories of Imam Husayn have brought us here. Being mentioned over and over and over again. It has made our community strong in terms of their iman, in terms of their behavior, in terms of their action. That's why we find that today, for example, when you look at the walk of Arba'in, the amount of isar, the amount of self-sacrifice, the amount of giving, the amount of charity, the amount of sabr, the amount of love, the amount of care, where does it come from? It's all because of the majlis of Imam Husayn. There wasn't, so to speak, yes, it's good to organize this and that and the other, but when it comes from Imam Husayn, it's Imam Husayn. First 10 nights is Imam Husayn, period, that's it. You know, as John says, when he comes to the battlefield, he tears his shirt. They told John, who was the black slave of Imam Husayn alayhi salam, they told him, are you crazy? He says, yes, ana majnoonul Husayn. I'm crazy for Husayn. So the 10 nights is Husayn. Yes, there were 72 shuhada, but each and every one of them was Husayn. Every person have become Husayn with Imam Husayn alayhi salam, right? So therefore, these nights are very special nights, and the amount of sincerity and purity we bring, the amount of sincerity and purity will be given to us. I mean, this is Majlis of Husayn. It's not a joke, you know, right? People may not like me saying this or even criticize me. You know, when it comes to Allah, we can do ifs and buts. But when it comes to Husayn, you know, it's not possible to trick him. It's Husayn. How can you trick Husayn? How can you cheat Husayn? Right? So when we are coming here, it has to be pure. And we should try our best by remembering the Shuhada, Imam Husayn alayhi salam, during the day as well, right? And a tawassul, a connection. For example, that's why you see every night is a different masaib. Different things are being recited from the pages of history. You know, someday we'll talk about Hazrat Ali Akbar, Ali Asghar, Abul Fazl, connecting to that shaheed of the day, connecting the spirit to the soul of that shaheed, and seeking assistance and help from that shuhada in our affairs, right? So, inshallah, as they say, Inna al-Husayn misba'ul huda wa safina nija. Imam Husayn is a very famous hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says Imam Husayn alayhi salam is the torch of guidance, is misba'ul huda. And this hadith is written on the arsh of Ilahi. When Prophet went on Miraj, he saw this hadith and he mentions this hadith, a very famous hadith, that Husayn is the torch of guidance and the ark of salvation, right? So as Husayn is the light, as Husayn is the torch of guidance, you, each and every one of you are light. Each and every one of you are light. And each and every one of you are arcs of salvation. And as they say, I think Maulana Rumi has that poetry, Nuriyan ba Nariyan, Boat Nuriyan ba Nuriyan, apparently. I was just trying to find that poetry. Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Yeah, it says that Nariyan mar nariyan ra jaziban. Those who are fire, for example, is attracted towards the fire. Nuriyan mar nuriyan ra taliban. And those who are light, they seek the light. Light attracts light. So therefore, as Imam Husayn alayhi salam is the misbah, is the light, and it attracts light, we have to increase our light through that light, which is the light Imam Husayn is giving. He is the ark of salvation. He is the Safina Nijat. The 8th Imam, Imam Rada alayhi salam says that all Masumeen are Safina Nijat. Imam Awwal, Dovum, Sivom, they are all Safina Nijat. Right? All are. But the 8th Imam says, the Safina Nijat, the ark of salvation, which reaches the goal very swiftly and very quickly, and which is very big, is the Safina of Husayn. It's very huge. It's place for everyone. And it will save us. You know, as he was mentioning, just one tear with khulus and sincerity puts off 70,000 years of hellfire. Just one tear. One tear, which is equivalent to a wing of a mosquito, will forgive the futures of the past, the sins of the past, and the sins of the future. We have a riwayat for that. And that is Safina Nijat. The 8th Imam says, we are all Safina Nijat, because a person comes to the 8th Imam and he says that you are our Imam, you know, Imam Rada, we know you are our Imam, we love you, and we will do everything for you. But with Imam Husayn there is something different. We love him the most. So Imam Rada says, same is for me. Because his Safina is very swift and very quick. Right? So therefore, you all are lights. And that's why this place exists today. Because of these small lights that we have, it comes together, it becomes a big light. So your participation, your coming, especially in the month of Muharram, with sincerity, right? People tend to look at good speaker, bad speaker, this and that and the other. No. These 10 days is you and Husayn. Your presence here with that purity and sincerity. Many people, as we have our brothers here, they may not understand poetry being recited in Urdu, but their attendance is written by Siddiqa Kubra. She is here. No doubt she is here. Right? Their presence is recorded. Regardless of whether who is, what language is being spoken. So therefore, you all are lights, and lights attract to light. You all are Safina Nijat of your family, of your friends, of your relatives. You are guiding them, training them, protecting them, right? So from this Safina Nijat of Husayn alayhi salam, we seek that our Safina Nijat becomes stronger, right? So it's very important. Now, if you help me with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. One of the things that I wanted to look at as of today, while introducing the first 10 nights, which we'll be speaking about, first and foremost is the dua of the first of the month of Muharram. Now, brothers and sisters, see, Muharram, the name itself points out to, it comes from haram. Okay, why it is the month, it's known as the month of haram. What do you mean by the meaning of the month of haram? Because Muharram, like the names of the month, is pre-Islamic, meaning that even before, the Islam began, the Arabs of that time, they used to follow these months. Many of the, some of the practices which was practiced by the Arabs of that time, which actually returns back to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. It's not like, mushrik or idol worshipper practices, or all goes back to Hazrat Ibrahim. Even Hajj, for example, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept the Hajj of our brother Wali here and all of them, inshallah. All of the practices of Hajj as well is a lot of similarities to the time before the Prophet. They would come and do tawaf, for example, right? Some of the things have been taken away. Even they used to have ihram, but because they try to monopolize the Hajj in order to make money, which we kind of see the Jahiliyyah even today, of the Arabs of that time. They monopolize the Hajj. They said that if you want to wear ihram, you have to buy the ihram from us in Mecca. You cannot bring your ihram from different villages. So they start, because they did not have that sort of money as such, so they started coming naked. We don't have ihram, so we're going to do the tawaf naked and all that. That's why they used to do Hajj. Some of the people used to do Hajj naked without any clothes. Why? Because there was a restriction. They said, if you want to buy ihram, you have to buy the ihram from us. So basically, some of the Jahiliyyahs, things that happened in the past, we are trying to see today as well by monopolizing things, so on and so forth. Anyways, so what I'm trying to say is that Muharram, in which battle was haram. See, Zilhijj battle was haram. Ziqada is also a month of haram. There are 4 months in the Quran which talks about being haram. Ziqada is just before Zilhijj, because people will come for Hajj from different places. No fighting, because it will take long time for them to reach, right? Zilhijjah is a month of Hajj, obviously. No fighting, no killing. Then after that is Muharram. People are going back. No fighting, no killing. These are the Jahiliyyah period. That the Arabs, they will not fight, they will not kill each other. But look what they did to the grandson of the Prophet. Isn't that strange? Isn't that saying something? There's a very deep, hidden meaning behind this, which is Imam Husayn is killed in the month of Muharram. Right? And that is that the very purpose of peace, the purpose of avoiding the differences, ikhtilafat, honor, protection, was not completely installed in the Arabs of that time that they were living. That they still remain on some of the Jahiliyyah practices in terms of that animosity. And they even went to kill Imam Husayn, which probably we'll look at some of the historical aspect a little bit later. So now Muharram was a month where battle was haram. They will not be at the time of Jahiliyyah as well, and Prophet also carried on the same thing. Now, as we said that these months are actually from the time of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi, and there is some very hidden spiritual secrets behind them. See, when the battle is haram, for example, fighting is not allowed, this itself reflects that this is a special month, which contains within that month mercy, rahmah. Because no fighting means mercy. Fighting is not good. If there's no people fighting with each other, that means that's mercy there, right? There's forgiveness there, right? There is patience there, right? So the month itself becomes a month of mercy from the point of view of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that this month is a month of mercy. This is not allowed. For example, Safar, as they say that it's a bad omen, right? The month is Nahas, the month is not good. That's why there are du'as in the month of Safar to be recited, which tend to reflect some of those things or some of those realities of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which points out to His Jalal. Like for example, the month of Safar, we recite the dua. We are supposed to recite 10 times a day. Ya Shadidul Quwa, Ya Shadidul Mihal, Ya Azizu, Ya Azizu, Ya Aziz, Zallat bi'admatika jami'a khalqik, Fakfini sharri khalqik. Pointing out to the Jalali aspect of Allah in order for that protection, right? So every month has some specialities to it, peculiarities to it, right? The month of Ramadan, for example, is a month of mercy, month of forgiveness. Du'as are related to that fashion. So we as followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam must pay attention to the du'as of the month, to the amal of the month, because they have taught us how to carry ourselves towards that goal, which is, Ya ayyuhal insan innaka kadihun ila rabbika kadhan famulaqi. We are all going to meet Allah. While meeting Allah, we have to, prepare ourselves. So these du'as that are there, it's a preparation and it's a reminder. Now the month of Muharram, is a very special month. It's considered to be the new year. First of Muharram is New Year. From the Arabic months is the first of the month, right? So there are du'as there are amal there in regards to that, which we have to pay attention to, and we perform those amal. For example, the Muharram to be the day in which Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam was saved from the well. We'll talk about that when the third comes in a bit detail, point out to that as well, right? Right. Now, at the same time, not to forget that the 10th of Muharram, for example, there are some, fake narrations as well in which they say, oh, the ark of Nuh alayhi salam reached the shore, or for example, Hazrat Ibrahim was protected from the hellfire, so fast this month, so on and so forth, right? Now, obviously, we have to be careful in terms of where we take the narrations and riwayat from. هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية, right? It's a day of barakah for Bani Umayyah. They say that it's a day of barakah. Why? Because these or that thing happened, and connect to that, right? So now the first day of Muharram, there is a dua to be recited. You may have not recited or may have recited. Regardless, we'll recite it tonight. We'll reflect a bit on it, and you also can recite. So Prophet would recite Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He recited this dua: Allahumma anta ilahu al-qadim wa hadhihi sanatun jadid. Oh Allah, you are the eternal God, and this is a new year. Today is the new year, but we start our new year by sorrow and by sadness, by wearing black, by paying allegiance to the Imam Husayn alayhi salam, to Imam al-Asr alayhi salam. فَأَسْأَلُكَ فِيهَا الْإِسْمَةَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ. See, we have to be very careful. Shaitan is always there. Shaitan will not go in a nightclub or in downtown. Shaitan will come to here, where he has nice fish to catch, right? He'll go to masajid, he'll go to ziyarat places, right? So that Shaitan can deviate us, right? He has aduun mubin, he is the enemy. That's why we find all of these majalises in places, competition, I give biryani, you give this tabarruk, that tabarruk. I recite this way, I do matams this way, that way. This is my style of doing. Oh, it's all Imam Husayn. Why are we fighting on these things? Why are we doing this ikhtilafat? Right? So therefore, Shaitan will come to a place where he wants to deviate, not to a place where people are already deviated. Right? So Rasulullah says that I therefore request your safety from Shaitan. وَالْقُوَّةَ عَلَى هَذِهِ النَّفْسِ الْأَمَّارَةِ بِالسُّوءِ. Oh Allah, I seek help from myself, from this nafs. First is Shaitan. A weak person like me, Shaitan doesn't really come to catch me. My nafs is enough to deviate me. Shaitan is for, Anbiya and Awliya, people like, for example, Hazrat Ibrahim was going for the sacrifice, and the Shaitan comes there. But a weak person like me, my nafs is only enough. For example, just now, Agha Sahib said, oh, Hujjatul Islam, this and that. If my beard was more white, I will be very upset with you. You should be telling me, Ayatullah, why you said Hujjatul Islam? Huh? It's my nafs, because I am, my turban, my beard, and why are you just calling me Hujjatul Islam? Is very little, you know. This is my nafs. The people, we are like this. With just one little thing, we get very agitated, we get very angry, you know. So here it says that, oh Allah, protect me. قُوَّةَ عَلَى هَذِهِ النَّفْسِ الْأَمَّارَةَ بِالسُّوءِ. Our nafs commands to do evil. That's our nafs. Naturally it's like that. In Surah Yusuf, in the beginning verses, it talks about inna nafsa ammarata bisu. Inna nafsa. Certainly that nafs, our soul, commands to do evil naturally. When the sun will rise, what will happen? The day will come. So our nafs naturally commands to do evil. That's how our nafs is made. But alhamdulillah, illa ma rahima rabbi. Except that nafs upon which Allah have mercy. Because you know, our body, our soul, you know, is in our body, which have that gravity. Our body is made of clay, of this earth. Our nafs is in between our ruh and our body. So our nafs is naturally, it's like gravity. You know, when we throw something up, it falls down. So our nafs is naturally attracted towards the dunya. It's natural. You know, just look, open your telephones and look how many selfies you have in there. We love ourselves. We see ourselves in the mirror daily and we never get tired. You know, on the 11th day you will be telling me, Maulana Sahab, bas hai, abhi 10 din se dekh rahe hain, abhi jaye ghar ko. You know, we are looking at you for 10 days, go home now. You will get tired of me, you know. But we look ourselves every day, right? Why? Because we love our nafs. We like ourselves. Right? We are naturally attracted towards things that we like. We are pulled towards that. Fourth Imam, Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, have a munajat. He has, you know, 15 munajat which are known to be the whispered phrase, munajat al-15 by the fourth Imam. There's a munajat which is known as munajat al-shakin, shikwa. Munajat of the complainers. In this munajat, the fourth Imam is complaining to Allah. Oh Allah, Ilahi, you know, oh Allah, I'm complaining you of my nafs. Ashku ilayka nafsi. I do shikayat, oh Allah, of my nafs to you. Ashku ilayka nafsi. Why? Inna nafsa ammarata bisu. Because my nafs commands me to do evil. That's how our nafs is. You know, there's prayer time, we'll be sitting in watching telly, or we'll be playing, or we'll be on the phone texting. It's a time of prayer. Why? Because our nafs is attracted towards it. So this dua, see, there are, you know, I'm sorry to go in tangent and discuss other stuffs in the margin. There is dua, there is nudba, and there is najwa. These are the three different stages of the nafs through which man connects to Allah. Right? Dua is a call, where we call dua kumail, for example. It's a bit loud. You know, dua, right? Nudba is louder, nida. It comes from nida. You know, on nudba we do dua nudba on Friday. We call loudly. Najwa is whispering, is you know, is whispered praise. Very silently we speak to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And all of these four tend to point out to the halat-e nafs-e insan, point out to the state of the nafs. So when you want to know the state of the nafs of a a person in a state of istirab, in a stress, look what dua nudba is. That's the state of istirab of the nafs. If you want to look at, for example, the state of the nafs as in najwa, as in munajat, you know, Mawla ya Mawlai, Antal Mawla wa Anal Ab. That's najwa. That's whispering. That's love and the beloved, you know, lover and the beloved. Ashiq wa Ma'shuq. It's a najwa. It's very whisper. Very slowly. Munajat Shabaniya. You know, it's very whispering between, you know, that's why, how is, you know, Munajat Shabaniya, if you know, Allahumma salli, wasma du'ai idha da'utuk. You know, begins with the dua. You know, I'm doing dua, you listen to me. Wasma nida idha nadaitu. Faqad harabtu ilayk wa waqaftu bayna yaday. You know, mustaqinan lak. You know, I have ran away from everything. And after coming closer to you, وَأَقْبِلْ إِلَيَّ, when iqbal takes place, when that closeness takes place, right? Then I do my najwa to you. Because usually the lover and the beloved, they always whisper with each other. Nobody around them, nobody is listening, but still they whisper. Right? So munajat points out to the halat in nafs, that is which is very close to Allah and is in a state of love. Munajat arifin, munajat muhibbin, munajat abidin, is all 15 munajat, points out to the state of the nafs of an abid. If you read the munajat of the 15th Imam, if you want to know how an abid should be with Allah, read that dua. Yes, those are duas to recite, but at the same time, it's a lesson there. Ye darsi tushe, to understand, how an abid should be, how an arif should be, how a lover should be. Munajat muhibbin. Munajat shakin, a munajat where a person is complaining. Ilahi ashku ilayka nafsi. I'm complaining over my nafs. If you look at in this munajat, it says, my nafs attract towards entertainment. In munajat of the 4th Imam, because nafs like entertainment, it's natural. We like entertainment, right? So my nafs is saying likes entertainment. Oh, Allah protect me from it. So therefore here, our nafs naturally is inclined towards relaxation, towards pleasure, this and that and the other. But illa ma rahima rabbi, that if the mercy of Allah is on that nafs is protected. What is the mercy of Allah? The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the Quran. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the teachings of Ahlul Bayt alayhi salam, which we have to bring in our life. Then my nafs will not command me to do evil. My nafs is command me to relax. But when Muharram comes, the Ahlul Bayt, the 8th Imam, they say Imam Rida alayhi salam, his face will change. He will be in a state of huzn and sorrow and sad. Right? My nafs wants to be free, pleasure. It's very difficult for me to come here. At night I go home. Our majlis finishes late. Every day, why do we have to go? Right? My nafs wants to relax, wants to watch the same, weekly shows that it always have. But now I have to go with my father, with my parents, or whatever. I would like to do that, but no, you have to be here. This is why? Why? Because Bibi Fatima is here. My nafs fights. And that's the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here in this dua, I know I'm taking too much of your time. After shaitan, فَأَسْأَلُكَ فِيهَا الْإِسْمَةَ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ وَقُوَّةَ عَلَى هَذِهِ النَّفْسِ الْأَمَّارَةَ بِالسُّوءِ وَاشْتِغَالَ بِمَا يُقَرِّبُنِي إِلَيْكَ يَا كَرِيمٌ. And engage my nafs. This is the dua of the first of the month. Engage my nafs with what? In all that which draws me near you. Everything what I'm doing, that activity should bring me near you, near Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What could be the most best activity than the majlis of Imam Husayn that will bring us near to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? There isn't any activity that is greater than the majlis of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. Now don't put me in the list of those who try to do ikhtilaf, namaz avval or majlis avval. There's no discussion. Why do we get into this stuff? What is namaz is afzal or majlis is afzal? Right? That's a silly question, right? There's no better activity than the majlis of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. In which we are, revive. We are given life. We understand the reality of salat. It is in this very majlis, I learned that on the day of Ashura, it was time of Zohar. Somebody comes to Imam Husayn, what is going on? He says, time of Zohar, Jamaat. Is Jamaat mustahab or wajib? Is protecting life mustahab or wajib? Protecting life is wajib. Arrows are coming. Somebody comes and says, it's Jamaat, let's do. It's mustab Jamaat, it's not wajib. But Imam Husayn did Jamaat on the day of Zuhr. Is this majlis I learned? Right? So we should not try to, create unnecessary discord. Is Afzal namaz or majlis? It's majlis in which we learn the reality and the truth of namaz. That's where we learn. We have to be mature enough to balance things that way. The time of salat is salat, we do on time, and then there's majlis. No, don't create in such a way that you have to bring two things together. Exactly at the time of salat, you're saying, "Oh, we want to have majlis." Don't do that. It's silly to do that. Salat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And at the same time, sometimes majlis is going on. It's prolonged a bit. Oh no, stop. Let's finish. A few minutes. 10, 15 minutes. Sometimes, when we do Dua Kumail, especially these days here, not in the Middle East, we will delay our prayer for Maghrib, for Dua Kumail, because Mu'mineen are coming. We delay the prayer for Jamaat. But when it comes to Majlis or Matam, a little bit extra, stop the Majlis. No, namaz time. Just take it easy. Give a bit of a time, it will finish. And even those who are performing, these majalises, Matam and all that, they also know that it's namaz time and people are requesting them. They're not gonna prolong it either. They should not get into this sort of zid. Now this man is saying it's namaz time, I'm gonna do my matam longer. Why are you doing matam for Husayn? Or are you doing matam for, come on, right? I'm mentioning this in the first, of Muharram, so that, whoever is listening and goes, they should really keep this thing in mind, So therefore, the point is that, that to have that, Salat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So this is engage me with those things which will bring me closer to you. We recite in this dua. The Majlis of Imam Husayn is the highest, is the best act ever that is there, that will bring us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can it not be? How can it not be? When in the Majlis of Husayn, which is ibadat, who is coming? Who is coming in to attend, to perform that ibadat, to be with us? Is the highest of ibadat indeed. The Majlis of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. There isn't anything higher than this. See, the way to wazn, weight, the best of ibadat is to see how much mercy of Allah is in that. What is the best of the month? The month of Ramadan. Why? Because the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in abundance. In that month of Ramadan, there's a lot of mercy. That's why that is the best of the month. Right? What is the best of ibadat is to look at how much of mercy is in that. How much mercy in the Majalis of Husayn. One little tear. If I don't know how to cry, make your face like crying. This is nifaq. A majlis in which even munafaqiyat becomes ibadat. Look at this. Where munafaqiyat we've been asked not to do, not to cheat, not to show off. Right? But in majlis they say, you cannot cry, make your face like crying. Show as if you're crying. That itself becomes ibadat. Eating clay mud is haram. But the turbat of Husayn eating is shifa. Something that is haram is becoming shifa. This is Husayn. This is Majlis of Husayn. So the weight of ibadat is looked at by the amount of mercy and forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in it. So in the Majalis of Imam Husayn alayhi salam is abundance amount of rahmah and mercy and forgiveness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So that's the beauty of Majlis of Imam Husayn alayhi salam. So therefore, inshallah, I will end pretty soon. So make me busy with those things which will bring me closer to you. Ya Dhal Jalali wal Ikram, Ya Imada man la imada la, Ya Dakhra man la dakhra la, Ya Hirza man la hirza la, Ya Ghiyatha man la ghiyatha la, Ya Sanada man la sanada. How beautiful. If it wasn't for Ahl Bayt, we will not learn this. It is Ahl Bayt and no one else. Go to any other, schools of thought. You will not find the way human beings, insan, can connect to Allah other than the way of Ahl Bayt alayhi salam. They have taught us. They have taught us how to connect. They have taught us how to know. And that is one of the themes and topic of our discussion, is that to reflect upon the Dua Arafa of Imam Husayn alayhi salam, which is full of ma'rifat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we are reflecting on Dua Arafa, it is actually teaching us what? It is actually teaching us the personality of Husayn. By looking Dua Arafa, we know, oh my God, who is this man who is speaking to Allah like this? Who can speak to Allah like this? It is Husayn. Who can speak to Allah like what? Like when Hazrat Ibrahim was being tossed in the fire. They put Hazrat Ibrahim and he's up in the air and the fire is there. Jibreel comes to Ibrahim and Jibreel says, you need any help? Is Jibreel sent by Allah. Ibrahim can say, yeah, please help me. But Ibrahim said what? From you? No. From Allah. Then that fire changed into a garden. That's Tawheed. But here we are talking about Husayn. We are talking about a sacrifice of Ibrahim when he was taking Ismail to sacrifice. Now, Hajj. What do? 3 places we hit the stones. 3 places Shaitan came for Ibrahim. You are sacrificing your son. But here Husayn, on the day of Arafah, there is no stoning for him. He goes straight to the Qatlgah. Ibrahim is going to the Qatlgah to sacrifice his son. But he has to hit Shaitan. But for Husayn, there is no Shaitan. Straight to the Qatlgah to sacrifice Ali Asghar. That's why they call the Bezabi al-Azim. We have changed the sacrifice of Ismail to the greatest sacrifice which is coming, which is the sacrifice of Husayn. So we will be reflecting on this dua. However, there is a premise for that, and there is a 2 premise which we'll do tomorrow. One is to reflect a bit upon the day of Arafah, and the other one is because we know, we are the people of adab. Alhamdulillah, our parents have taught us adab. And we learn adab in the Majlis of Husayn. We don't sit on chairs unless or until it is necessary. I respect the brother or whoever is sitting, nothing against them. The adab is by sitting on the Farsh-e-Aza of Husayn. That's how we learn adab, right? We sit on the floor in humility and humbleness. So we are the people of adab. What is what we've been taught? If you want to go to Husayn, who do we go to first? If you want to go to Husayn, we go to Abul Fazl, Hazrat Abbas. Whenever we go for ziyarat of Imam Husayn, first we go to Abul Fazl. We take the permission because he is the doorkeeper. Ana Madinatul Ilm wa Aliyun Babuha, right? Here, Husayn is the Medina and the Bab is Abbas. So in order to know Husayn, as we said, our topic is trying to understand the personality of Husayn. We have to reflect a bit upon Abul Fazl. take permission from him so that we can enter and so that we can have some glimpse of Abu Abdullah al-Husayn alayhi salam. So we'll do that inshallah in the future nights, a bit on Abul Fazl, who's Ya Kashif al-Karban Wajil Husayn, Ikshif Karbi bihaqqi Aqiq al-Husayn. Who is Abul Fazl? Sayyid Ali Qazi Tabatabai, the teacher of Allama Tabatabai, he would say Abul Fazl is the Kaaba awliya. That's Abul Fazl. Is a Kaaba of awliya. You have to go around Abul Fazl, do tawaf of Abul Fazl, in order to reach Allah, right? So that's the premise to our future discussions that will happen. So here is Imam Husayn alayhi salam and his sacrifice. It was very difficult. Ana basharun mithlukum yuha ilay. Rasulullah, he says, I am a bashar, I'm a human being, just like you, but wahi comes to me. So Prophet also suffered, he was a prophet and he was suffering, in terms of his prayer. He would stand up in prayers at night, his feet will swell up, right? He would be worried, he was plotted, he was poisoned, he was, protected by people. When you cut him, he bleed, when they had the sanctions upon him, upon Muslims, he was in the valley of Abi Talib without food. So suffering is there. Yes, they are on their own mission, and their suffering is according to their capacity. La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wusaha, right? No nafs is tested unless that nafs have that capacity. Look at the capacity of Husayn. Then this also shows the nafs of Husayn. What is he? Who he is, right? So Imam Husayn alayhi salam is leaving on the 28th of Rajab. He leaves from Medina. He leaves on the 28th. What is 27th? 27th of Rajab is the night of Mabas. All night, you and I, is to do ibadat, amal. 27th night, we do ibadat all night. We do ibadat. 3 nights we do usually ibadat. Is Qadr, 15th of Shaban, and 27th. These are the 3 special nights. So we're talking about Imam Husayn here. He's in Masjid al-Nabawi, right? He's in Masjid al-Nabawi doing ibadat, and he had a vision. And he says, Rasulullah, he says, Husayn, this maqam of shahadat, of martyrdom, where the whole creation envy that maqam, where the whole creation wants that, the highest maqam of all belongs to you, O Husayn. It's for you in the dream, in the vision. I'm using my own words, right? But you will reach there via Karbala. You have to reach that through Karbala. Imam Husayn knew, no doubt. He is fully aware of what will happen and what not. We'll discuss that later on. Why is that still? Why did he go? So on and so forth. For our youth, we'll discuss that. Take it for now. So he was fully aware. We'll discuss that in very detail because we're going to look at the personality of Imam Husayn. We're going to start from 3rd of Shaban, the very dua on the birth of Imam Husayn that we recite, in which the 11th Imam says that your martyrdom was even announced before you were born. We recite in that dua. What does that mean? So anyway, we'll discuss that word. So Imam Husayn knew what's going to happen, so on. But even knowing that, right, does not mean that he must carry on. He has all free will. He can just say, no, I'm not going. Right? He has that free will to do so. Right? But he can stop, or he can make it more beautiful. Because he has to go there. And he made it the most beautiful ever possible. That is seen on the day of Ashura. That's the height of beauty of Husayn. The height of beauty of Husayn is when shimmer is on the chest of Husayn. And he's about to sever the head. Imam Husayn, please, says, please don't. Give me water at least. He does not want water, no. But Shimr said no. And what did Husayn do? Fatabassama. He smiled. He smiled. That is the beauty, which we'll discuss that later on. Anyway, so Imam Husayn needs that push, that support, that courage, and that is Rasulullah. On the 27th night, he said, that's the maqam Husayn, you have to, right? He reminds him, it's a reminder. And Rasul, fadhakkir in nafat al-dhikra, is a Rasul, is a mudakkir. Then he comes home, and 28th Rajab, he leaves from Medina towards Mecca. And this leaving of Husayn is very painful. In his sakht tareen marhala, Imam Husayn alayhi salam ka, with the apologies to our brothers who does not understand Urdu, I will speak a bit in Urdu and I will try to speak in English as well. It was very difficult because we know that Imam Husayn alayhi salam left his one of the daughter there in Medina. جدا شدن پدر از دختر خیلی سخت. سخت‌ترین مرحله حسین دو جا بود. این خواب علامه شستری آیت الله اشتهاردی تو کتاب مقتلش نوشته. گفت بزرگترین مصیبت حسین را نمیخونی شیخ؟ میگه من تمام مقتل را میخونم. گفت نه، بزرگترین مصیبت حسین وقتی که با رقیه خداحافظی میکرد. این بزرگترین مصیبت. The greatest، سب سے بڑی مشکل امام حسین علیہ السلام کی خواب میں بی بی فاطمہ آ کے علامہ شستری سے کہتی ہے کہ علامہ تم حسین کی سب سے بڑی مصیبت نہیں پڑھتے ہو؟ تو یہاں پہ علامہ فرماتے ہیں کہ میں تمام مقتل پڑھتا ہوں. تو بی بی کہتی ہے نہیں، وہ بڑی مصیبت نہیں تھی. حسین کی سب سے بڑی مصیبت سکینہ سے خداحافظی کرنے کی تھی. مگر میں یہاں کہوں گا دو مصیبت تھی حسین کی، ایک ہے فاطمہ کبرا، ایک ہے فاطمہ صغرا. یه دخترش تو مدینه گذاشت که خیلی سخت بود جدا شدنش. فاطمہ صغرا سے خداحافظی کرنا آسان نہیں تھا. بیٹی اور باپ کی خداحافظی آسان نہیں ہے. ایک خاص رغبت اور ایک خاص محبت ہوتی ہے بیٹی اور باپ کے بیچ. اسی لیے بی بی کتنا روتی رہی. رسول خدا کو جدا ہو کر رسول خدا سے کتنا روئی. اتنا روئی کہ لوگ آ کے کہتے تھے کہ فاطمہ سے کہو کہ دن میں رو یا رات میں رو. بیٹی باپ سے جدا ہوئی ہے. آپ تصور کریے کہ فاطمہ صغرا کتنا نہیں روئی ہوئی. فاطمہ صغرا کا کیا حال ہوا ہوگا کہ جب قافلہ لوٹ کے مدینہ واپس آیا ہوگا. کیونکہ جب قافلہ مدینہ سے جا رہا تھا تو بیویوں کے گود بھری ہوئی تھی. بھائی علی اکبر بھی ساتھ تھے، چچا عباس بھی تھے. اس طرح سے قافلہ، کیا شان سے قافلہ نکلا تھا. آپ تصور کریں کہ یہی حسین کا قافلہ کس طرح سے لوٹا ہوگا اور فاطمہ صغرا کا کیا حال ہوا ہوگا. یہاں پہ کہا گیا ہے کہ امام حسین علیہ السلام نے حکم دیا اور کہا کہ اب صبح تیار ہو جاؤ، سفر کے لیے آمادہ ہو جاؤ. سواریاں تیار کی گئی اور حضرت عباس علیہ السلام جو ہے وہاں پہ سواری تیار کر رہے ہیں. جوان آگے پیچھے امام حسین علیہ السلام کے دوڑ رہے ہیں. اور پھر اعلان ہوا کہ بیویوں کو تشریف جوان ٹھہرے ہوئے ہیں اور بیویاں گزر رہی ہے. اور ابو الفضل عباس آگے بڑھ کر پردہ ناخے کا ہٹاتے ہیں اور بی بی زینب سوار ہوتی ہیں. اس طرح سے بی بی زینب سوار ہوئی تھی. عاشور کے دن کس طرح سے بی بی زینب سوار ہوئی، کیونکہ جب عباس کا ذکر آیا تھا کہ وہ جنگ پہ جا رہی ہیں تو بیوی اضطراب کر گئی اور کہنے کہ میں پریشان ہو گئی. کیوں پریشان؟ کیونکہ چادر کا محافظ عباس تھا. 28 سفر کے دن بھی اسی طرح ابو الفضل عباس بیویوں کو سوار کراتے ہیں، اور پھر اس کے بعد ایک ایک سے خداحافظی ہوئی. سلمہ سے خداحافظی ہوئی امام حسین علیہ السلام کی. وہ خاک جو ایک خاص خاک تھی شیشے میں بند، وہ خاک جو ہے سلمہ کو امام حسین علیہ السلام نے دیا. اور پھر اب وہ وقت آ گیا ہے کہ علی اصغر کو چاہ رہے ہیں لے کے جائے قافلے میں، لیکن علی اصغر ہے کہ بی بی صغرا کا گود نہیں چھوڑ رہے بی بی صغرا سے خداحافظی نہیں کر رہے ہیں، کیونکہ کہا گیا ہے کہ بی بی صغرا، فاطمہ صغرا کو بخار تھا، وہ علیل تھی، وہ مریض تھی، اس وجہ سے انہیں نہیں لے جایا گیا. یہ بھی ایک سب سے بڑا امتحان تھا حسین کے لیے. اور یہاں پہ علی اصغر بی بی صغرا کا گود نہیں چھوڑ رہے ہیں. یہاں پہ امام حسین علی اصغر کے پاس آتے ہیں اور کان میں کچھ کہتے ہیں، اور پھر فوری یہ بچہ اپنے آپ کو بابا کے گود میں ڈال دیا. جب پوچھا گیا کہ اے حسین آپ اصغر کے کان میں کیا بولے، تو یہاں پہ حسین فرماتے ہیں میں نے کہا حل من ناصر ینصرنا میرا مددگار کہاں ہے، کیونکہ وہ وہی مددگار تھا کہ عاشور کے دن جب حسین نے صدا بلند کی حل من ناصر ینصرنا، اپنے آپ کو گہوارے سے، اپنے آپ کو جھولے سے باہر گرا دیا تھا، کیونکہ یہ سب سے بڑا مددگار ہے علی اصغر امام حسین علیہ السلام کا. یہاں پر جب بی بی صغرا کے گود سے علی اصغر کو لیا، یہاں پہ بچی تڑپ گئی. بی بی صغرا کی خداحافظی کس طرح سے ہوگی اپنے بھائی علی اکبر سے، میں نہیں جانتا. بھائی اور بہن کی بھی خداحافظی ہوئی، اور بی بی صغرا سے خداحافظی کر کر حسین نکلے اور قافلہ آگے بڑھتا چلا گیا. بچی اسی طرح سے تڑپتی رہی باپ کی محبت. اللہ لعنت اللہ علی قوم الظالمین، سیعلم الذین ظلموا ای منقلب ینقلبون. ماتم حسین.